All right, all right. We are back in Belmar at the Grit Won't Quit podcast studio, and today we have a very special guest on. We have Donna Carlin from Stepping Out Travel. Good morning.
Good morning, Tom.
How are you today?
I'm great, and you?
Thank you for coming in, and I'm ready to hear, a great story of a math teacher, Girl Scout leader turned into business executive. I think that's great. So, how did it all start? So, you're a Jersey girl through and through.
I am.
I love it. Jersey City, so for those who don't know, she's tough. She now lives down at the shore area, but comes from the strong Jersey City area. So you're working with the Girl Scouts, getting them on a trip into New York, and then you have 300 Girl Scouts that want to go on this trip.
Yeah, and the owner says, "I'm sorry, Donna, we cannot take your check." So it's like, okay, now what am I going to do? I mean, you've been taking my check for 25 girls all along. And he says, you're really going to have to find a travel agent. So I did. I went and I found a travel agent that was within the school system where I was doing substitute teaching. And the woman said, yeah, bring everything in. And I brought it in. And she was, what do you do? And I said, I run trips, group trips. And she said, have you ever thought to be a travel agent?
That's kind of like, you're probably like, what are you talking about? I'm just doing what I do, not thinking anything of this. And this woman's probably like 300 and change kids going on one trip is incredible.
Yeah. And I didn't realize it until, hey, now as a business owner many years later, that was, I was handing her over a gold pot,
Yeah.
And so anyway, I went to school.
Uh-huh.
I had to do that, not for the organizational skills that you need, but I needed to learn where to buy the travel from, and that's where it started 36 years ago. And then 19 years ago, I opened my own business.
That's so great. And it's a family business from what I know.
Yeah. My son, Tony, was actually doing his business degree, and I was his business model of opening a business.
Which is great. There's the educational and then the practical. So Tony helped you set up and incorporate your business and get online. What did he say to you?
He said, Mom, do you even know how many people that you service? And I was like, no. He says, well, I do. Let's get going. And that's, I had already the training. I've already had many years of experience. But, I didn't realize what the business end was of opening it.
Yep.
And then I realized 10 years ago that I needed a young CEO, somebody who had the vision and the knowledge of what was going on in today's world versus the old school, travel agent.
Sure.
So I brought in my daughter, Mandy.
Now, your daughter, Mandy, she saw you doing this along the way. She was one of those Girl Scouts on that trip.
Correct.
So she saw firsthand Mom bringing in 300 girls to a trip. But then as time went on, she started to learn the business and started to see what you were doing.
Yeah, every single day in the travel profession, we learn something. Continuing education is just what we need to do. And we need to be in contact with everyone that's in the field, whether it's our resorts, our destinations, our fellow travel professionals. And that's what she learned. And that's what she does very well, very, very well.
So now how is it working for your daughter?
Well, Mandy works out of Santa Barbara, California. So we have extended hours because she's 3 hours behind us. So Jersey opens first, she closes up. It's great because, as we progressed in our field, we learned that sitting behind a desk isn't how to sell travel. I mean, you really have to get out there. You have to see the properties. You have to know your destinations. You have to meet and greet everyone. Our networking and the people that we know make our business. For a lot, for our education, for our support. That's our business, and she's doing great. I mean,
great.
she got it all.
And now is your son still involved?
He's in the back end. He tells me what I shouldn't do, what I should do, and what do I need to do. And he got involved the other day because this AI thing, and I was like, I didn't know if I needed to hear this yet. And we're working on that. And that's how he's in the business, because he's on top of all the new trending things. in another area, but it still pertains to every business out
Sure.
there. Yeah. So, yeah, he'll tell me just to breathe a lot of the times, and you'll get through it. And there's somebody who knows something more than you, and never be afraid to ask.
I think that's great, a great thought process. You know, you can't be an expert at everything, so ask questions when needed, and learn from it. And you learn every day. I find that I learn something every day.
Yeah.
And the day you stop learning is when you're going to go backwards.
Very true.
Especially in the world we live in, everything is moving so fast. And again, I think in your world, you've had a couple crazy things to overcome in your years of being a business owner. I mean, you had the financial crash, you had the people starting to use the internet, you had COVID. So I mean, start digging into some of these, like where there was a point where everybody said travel agents wouldn't be needed anymore because the internet's here, right? And there was like that Orbit.com and some of those other older sites, and Travelocity, and
bring it on.
Bring it on, she
Bring
says.
it on. You know what? Yes. I just remember the one phone call when I had an old agent that was a Disney pro. I mean, they knew more about Disney than I did. And he went on his own because they were running a special. He says, it can't be that hard. So he did his booking. All of a sudden, he's like, but Donna, where was the meal package? He called me from Disney. I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't book this for you. He said, but Donna, I made a mistake. And I mean, the guy was so sincere, and it was like he was there for the week, and now he has all these kids, and it's so expensive, right? So I said, okay, let's take a breath. Let me see what I could do. And because of my connections, my networking, I explained to my rep, my Disney rep, we have a glitch. It wasn't mine. Did the whole story. He was able to get 3 days incorporated. It wasn't a full week, but he got the 3 days meal package. So, and guess what? He never booked anything on his own again. It was
good.
Great.
He learned.
He learned a lesson.
That was a hard lesson to learn, but he learned it, and he respects and values what you do.
Yeah, and because of that, then he told other people, and we had a lot of referrals. That's how we run our business.
So people still need a travel agent for the most part.
I would hope that they see the importance of a travel agent.
And
I mean,
what are some of the benefits, like to the for the viewers? Like, what do you think some of the benefits are? Like when you really think about it, like I know like there's sometimes where you look at a town, if you're looking at real estate, and you don't want to live in that area of the town. Like, but I believe that probably happens with trips and resorts and things like that. And where you looking at something on the internet, and everybody's showing their best pictures, but it's not always what meets the eye.
It's so true. And until you step on that property and you walk through it.
And you're there for 7 days.
Correct.
And it's unsafe, and your kids are there, or it's unsafe and your wife is there, and it's unsafe and you
Right.
don't want to be there.
And, and that's some of the phone calls that I'll get from somebody, like especially parents of college kids who are my clients. And like, he's doing it on his own and he's going here. What do you think? And I'm like, oh, no, please have him call me. Even if he doesn't book it through me, he cannot go there. And I'll explain the reasons why. And then the other things is, like you said, we can't know everything. We're very, very fortunate in the world that we live in today with technology. And I know people don't like the Facebook and a lot of social things, but I do. And we have a lot of great support through different groups that are on social media.
Yeah.
And if we have a question, or we have a friend that specializes in Egypt and we don't have a good, strong background, we'll pass that booking on to them because they know the facts.
Yep, and they know all the details
They
of where
know
to be.
Right. And I don't want to put anybody in a situation where then they're uncomfortable and then I'm liable.
I think that that's awesome that you have that mentality, because I think there's some people that will be like, oh, I'll just figure it out themselves and, try to figure it out. But again, if you've never been there and you don't know that, and you've never sent people there and you don't know where to stay, where to go, it puts you in a spot where, like, you don't feel great.
Exactly. And that's why I think my hardest, we were talking before the show, my hardest competition right now to understand is where, I'm going to use it, Costco has a travel department. And
That just
you know what?
sounds- that just
please,
doesn't sound
please,
good.
please stick to what you know.
Yeah.
Unless you are really qualifying those res agents that are sitting behind the phone, because all they are is order takers.
Yeah.
Where a travel professional is not an order taker.
No. They're a
Yeah.
knowledgeable
Right.
service professional.
Right. And we help design what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the falsehoods sometimes people say to me is, oh, you only sell this because you make the most money out of it. Because everybody knows travel agents only get paid by the commission on what we sell.
But you don't charge the end user. The commission comes back from the hotel, which is part of their marketing budget of how they operate. If they're not spending it with you, they're going to spend it online, putting ads in front of people's faces.
And they're just giving it back. Right.
So-
So they're not getting the personal service that we would give them.
So they're buying it at the same price.
Exactly.
While you're just giving them an exceptional experience.
An explanation, what they need, the
Someone to
things
call.
that are going, a person to call.
A live person that has a cell phone that you are.
And it's the one person. So your contact from the day they call me or the day they call Mandy or Jasmine or Bob or whoever they call, they're the person, the immediate contact.
That runs the whole.
That runs it from
through
start
and
to
through.
finish.
Yep.
Right.
So now except in extraordinary circumstances, your rep or you handle that transaction through and through for the customer.
Yes. Right from the beginning. And
That's great. So it's one point of contact.
Right.
It's not, oh, she told me this. Oh, when I talked to so-and-so, they said that. It's, you talk to me.
And then what we have backing us being, a business, we have our business development managers that are our trainers, our teachers, our confidants, okay? And on top of that, we have consortiums that we work through. So we have a lot of people backing us and are there to help us.
You have a network.
We have a huge network.
Versus somebody that's just writing an order who has, they sell a lot of stuff at that store and they do a very nice business, but I would agree with you. They should stick to selling the big boxes of Cheerios and paper towels and the hot dog on the way out.
Yes. Make their money on the chicken, But I mean.
But I tend to agree with you. You need a professional. Again, it's like in every time a true professional comes in here, we have similar conversations. The builder who tells me that their client goes onto YouTube and watches a video of how a house should be constructed, or the guy who comes in and tells me how to build a website and how I should be able to be done in 3 minutes because he saw this, a video online. So we
so
all,
true.
any service professionals live in a world where, a YouTube video tells us how we're all wrong. The builder was in the other day and she's telling me about a doctor that she wanted to build a home. And I said to her, she said to me, she showed me this YouTube video. I go, if I were you, I would have said to her, look, I looked at WebMD. Is this right? And she goes, I did. She goes, I did that to her. And she goes, you don't even have that. She goes, that's exactly right. And stop watching the YouTube videos to tell me how to build a house.
Yeah,
But it's the same kind of concept. Everybody thinks like, I don't know. It's just that part of it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's with the travel advisors, we're not called agents anymore. We're called
Yeah.
advisors.
I
I'm
like
not.
that.
I'm a designer.
Ooh,
My
fancy.
daughter is a specialist.
There you go.
We all have our own titles for our own meaning of what we create and do. But people will come in and they just think because they booked their own vacation and everything turned out well, that they could be a travel agent.
Yeah, sure.
I was like, okay, let's
Take a deep breath now.
yes.
Yeah.
Here, let me give you my independent contractors forms,
Yep,
and
sure.
you read down to 101 and tell me if you still want to be a travel
Yeah.
agent. And I do grab a couple of really good ones that understand that it's work, that like we were talking about from start to finish. When you get that phone call at 11 o'clock at night and you look on your cell phone, because that's our most point of contact now,
Yep.
is always the cell. And it's like, oh my God, it's, Mary Jane.
And she's
That-
and
yeah,
then you
she's-
just went
she's
through your
away.
mind where she is.
Yes. Okay, where is she? What could happen? What's going on? And you pick the phone up and, okay, now we have to solve this.
Yep.
Now, how do I do it? And at this time of night, without getting my reps involved, because I don't want to wake them up unless I
Yeah,
have
sure,
to.
sure.
And yeah, it's sometimes nerve-wracking, but then it's when they get back and it's like you hear, wow, Donna, thank you for taking the time. Thank you for being there. And,
Yeah.
A lot of the times it's just their comfort. They needed to know everything was
Sure.
okay. Now, what we didn't talk about before was everything that changes. Recently, we still have to register when we're going to the different islands, okay? But you also now have to be able to tell people what they can wear on the islands. Like you can't wear camouflage in certain countries.
Oh, really?
Yes. You can't have e-cigarettes in certain countries. You can't bring more than one device. If you're bringing a laptop, you can't bring an iPad.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know.
Good thing I don't have an iPad. I'm a phone and a laptop guy.
Yeah, the phone doesn't count, so you're really good.
Perfect. I never caught on to the iPad. I need to type faster. I could type faster on the keyboard than I can on an iPad.
Well, sometimes when we're traveling, it was good for me to know because
Yeah.
I take backups of everything. With
Oh,
me.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah,
So now, one thing you said to me that kind of stood out is give people what they want. People tell you what they want and give them that. So now, in a world where everybody's trying to price shop and go to the internet and, oh, my friend George did this, oh, you don't understand. How do you excel in that?
your product.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. So when we're qualifying a client, we have to know what they want, what their expectations are. And the old time phrase was champagne taste on a beer bottle, right?
I love that one. That's
Okay.
still good today. Champagne taste on a beer budget.
Right.
I have some of those clients too.
And that's what you have to explain to them. You're not going to get that, but I can do this for you, or I can move you to another property. And you have to give them. Why are they coming to me if they're not going to get what they want? I'm not going to put them someplace where they're going to be miserable. Then what are they going to come home? I'm going to lose hundreds of clients because one client was miserable. Everything is exponential in our world. If you do good, I get a lot in return. If you do bad, oh my God, it's worse.
Sure.
So,
oh yeah. Say they tell 10 people for every bad,
Yes, and that's the truth. And so and that's why they come to me, so that I give them exactly what they want. So it takes time, effort, and
part of that is the qualifying process, because not everybody drives the same car. There's people that want to drive BMWs. There's people that want to drive Hondas. There's people that want to drive Range Rovers and everything across the board. So just like in cars, it's like that in travel. There's some people that want to stay at the Ritz-Carlton, and there's some people that are more on a budget and want to stay somewhere else. But you have, in your discovery, you have to...
Yeah, you have to be able to feed through all of that. Right now, giving what they want sometimes is like air flights. They don't want to fly any more than 4 hours. But they want to go to a place that's 6 hours away.
You can't fix that.
I cannot fix that. And I'm having a lot of difficulty right now because the airlines, they change everything. And they could change it last minute, and they change the aircraft last minute. So the airlines kind of just put that stick in things that I'm planning.
And you have no control.
And I have no control over it.
So you could have the greatest relationship with all these different places where they're going to stay, but to get them there is just...
Oh, my God.
That's just like rolling the dice.
It is. And, you can't be stuck on one airline. You can't be stuck on one airport. They don't understand that, and the flexibility. And the other thing that we were talking about is, they don't even realize, living at the Jersey Shore. Okay, we're in heaven, I guess, because we have Philadelphia and we have Newark that we could go to. But then we have JFK.
And then you have a little bit of Atlantic City.
And then we have a little Atlantic City, which is coming around. They're going to be adding, another carrier in there.
Well, that carrier that was in there was never a great experience.
We know that, but okay. But anyway, we won't discuss
Nope.
our personal opinion about things. But then we have LaGuardia. But then we have to tell our clients, hey, this is how much your vacation costs, but I suggest you take in a car service, because by the time you drive to the airport and find the parking spot and tally up how much it's going to cost you in parking fees, and then you're going to have to buck after your vacation getting back to your car and everything
With all your luggage.
with all your luggage, and I say to them, it's so much easier. Why don't you let me get you a car service? You know, and so that's just like an added thing that, you know, we try to do. And it's not only on this end, it's also at the other end, because
Sure.
everybody thinks that's Ubers everywhere. It might be, but I ain't getting into an Uber in a third world country. You know, like there's restrictions here. And like, I look at myself, I'm not that capable anymore. I'm a little older. So, you know, as people get older, you know, we want to be pampered a little bit more.
Totally. I couldn't agree. For those who don't know, I am an investor in a limousine company, but I always say that the vacation starts when you bring your bags out of your house. It's not when you get to the airport. To me, I want to take a car service. Even before I was involved in the transportation business, I always took a car service when my wife and I went away. I felt like the vacation started as we left our driveway.
Well, it should.
I think
And
that's just, and on the way home, like you're tired, you're ready to get home. You know, again, when you own a business, you're already thinking about getting back into it. So like, I want that hour from Newark Airport back to my house to just be like where someone else is doing the driving.
And I want everything from the time you pick the phone up to call me to be stress-free for your vacation.
I couldn't agree with you more. So tell me about COVID and how that kind of, where you were before COVID, where you are today compared to that, but then also what COVID was like, because that had to be crazy. And listen, we only have, you know,
Okay.
we don't have an hour.
All right, it just blew.
Just kind of,
Okay.
you know,
It
19 to 20.
blew up our industry. It literally it did a shake crazy thing. Businesses collapsed.
That's unfortunate.
The structure of everything. I mean, everyone we depended on in the background really didn't know what the heck happened and how we were going to be able to fix it. Your clients were calling because vacations just stopped. Money was out there. You know, how are we getting their money back?
Yeah.
Nothing was fair.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't just, you know, travel protection that I was selling. This was stuff that wasn't fair. And we worked, and I'm not exaggerating, 24/7. The hold times were off the chart. They were days later. I would leave a callback number and I would get it at midnight. They didn't have the capability of being able to help us, and what our clients thought should have just been instantaneous. Just go and get it credited back to my credit card. The things that we learned was chargebacks. Oh my God, we didn't have chargebacks years ago. And then it became like they were going to do chargebacks. Chargebacks, you better have all your paperwork. So we had all these new paperworks that had to be filled out.
Oh.
Okay?
And chargebacks are not another thing in this world that it's like rolling the dice on. It's not fair.
It's
like,
not.
You could have documented signed contracts, no, you know, where it says I will not get a refund, and American Express, I feel like, is the worst with it.
Yeah, so like we had to come up with all of this. We had to come up with a solution of how our profession was going to work. And we are really blessed with the fact that there's a lot of associations and organizations, ASTA being one of them, okay, the American Society of Travel Advisors. And their support that they had for us in helping us stay alive. But in the meantime, as we're struggling as independent agents and agencies, we found the comfort of having the network of other agents and agencies. So as much as before I talked about hating Zoom, okay, Zoom became our survival because we had 3 iPhones going, we had landlines going, we had computers, we had everything trying to work for us. But it was the people that we knew that helped us. And I have such a huge shout out for all of the American Travel Association, because we
Shout
all
out to
came,
American Travel Association.
They came in full force to help. That year, probably, if you talk to any other travel agency, was our biggest year ever. The market was great. Everybody, multi-generational trips. I mean, our files were overflowing. So we had to get all that money back for people. So that was that big struggle. So now we did it. We survived it. A lot of us had to change how we ran our businesses. I was fortunate enough to be in an at-home office for my entirety, where other ones that had,
Little retail
storefronts,
presence.
they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
What were they going to do? And that was like, hey, we were allowed to help them. You can figure it out. We'll help you figure out how you can work. So we did that. More people started trusting travel agents after the pandemic because they realized they had somebody to turn to, because the ones that were booking from Expedia and Orbitz and Travelocity and all of them, they weren't getting through at all.
Yep.
At least they had us, and they knew we were working.
You might not have had all the answers, but at least you had their back and you were returning their calls, and you were somebody that they could count on.
Exactly. And that's what they learned about a travel agent. They could count on us.
Yep.
This year, I was just on the phone with a bunch of different agencies yesterday, and they were like, Donna, it didn't stop. We used to call it the wave season. I said, no, I'm riding that big wave. I mean, I feel like I'm in Honolulu.
Keep going.
It is. And keep buying and keep traveling and keep trusting the travel advisor that you have.
That's great. Yeah. So 2024 is better than pre-COVID.
Yes. Mid-year, we have gone over what we did prior to COVID.
That's great. That's great that people have come back. And again, there's less agents, so there's more opportunity for the agents that are here.
Oh, that's the big thing.
So,
we lost so many.
Yeah.
People had to get other jobs.
Yeah, understood.
They weren't making money.
At least you guys were able to pull through this and get to that next level. I'm going to have to give my wife your number so that when she's looking to book stuff.
Sure hope so. Thank you.
She can definitely speak to you and get an education on some of that stuff, which would be awesome. So as we wrap up today, this was a great conversation. I hope I didn't make you too nervous.
No, you're very comfortable. Thanks,
All right,
Tom.
perfect. So as we wrap up today, let people know where they can find you. What's your website, your socials, your phone number, so that people can get in touch if they're looking for their travel needs.
Okay. You can always reach me by Stepping Out Travel Services is my company. My name is Donna Carlin. That's where you're going to find me on social media, all across the board, as well as Stepping Out Travels. The website is steppingouttravels.com. My phone number is 732-330-7806. That's my cell number. Again, 732-330-7806. And I thank you, Tom, for doing this for all travel agents.
Awesome. This was a great conversation, and I'm glad that you came in. I know you might have been a little nervous to get here, but you looked like you did pretty well, and we had no problem having a nice conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.